definitely I grew up in a family that was very open about menstrual access. And so I know even just from as young as an age of 9, my mom taught me how to use things like a pad, and then later on things like a tampon.
Personally, in my situation, actually, I grew up underweight, and my family was extremely concerned for me. And in particular, my mom, pretty much every day at the dinner table would say, if you don't finish the last food that's on your dish, you're not going to get your period. And like, that kind of slippery slope is pretty drastic. But with that kind of assigning that kind of value to the word period for me when I was growing up made me long and desire and want to have my period.
My mom, I once said to her, "Can you teach me about sex? I'd like to learn something." I think I was in grade school. And she said to me, "Your breasts are starting to develop, so soon you'll menstruate." And even that word seems so stiff and formal, but I had no idea what that meant. And that was the end of the conversation. The only time I remember learning anything about sex ed in school was in 7th grade. We had a life sciences class and there was a little bit on sex, and I don't remember anything beyond literally the act of a penis and a vagina having intercourse. So I think everything I learned about menstruation was from experiencing it, having friends, and having sisters. But I didn't really know anything until I had my own period.
I went to a private evangelical school. My parents were teachers, so we got to go for free. We never learned about it. So I literally had no sex education whatsoever, including what happens to your body. I'm still finding out things that are quite normal that I think there's something wrong with me. No, it's normal, but I never learned about it my whole life.
Actually, the first time I learned from school, the elementary school teachers taught us what is the menstrual period is, but my parents didn't taught me anything about it.
So I learned about it in middle school, probably around 6th grade. It was co-ed, surprisingly, it was co-ed. I think I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. I think I learned more from my mom. But it was a fun experience, I guess. They didn't really go into details, but they told us it was a thing.
The classroom is co-ed, so both boys and girls were, going to the biology class, learning about the same information. I think I remember more the boys' reactions to the content than the content itself.
At school, it really started in 5th grade, which is unfortunate because there are girls who even start having their period in 4th, or even sometimes in 3rd. And the connotation around it was something that it wasn't something we should talk about, and it wasn't something that there should be a lot of flow of information about. We had a system of class where we would have girls separated for one day while the boys did their lesson, and then girls separated for another day when we would have our lesson. And so it wasn't shared information, and it was kept to be this kind of secret among people. And there wasn't really a talk besides kind of understanding that this was a medical process. There was the understanding of the idea of accessing menstrual hygiene, or of where you could find it, even from a young age. And so yes, you knew that this was a time of the month where an egg flowed down into your uterus, but there was nothing beyond that about this is how you can handle it, or this is what you should do, or don't be afraid about it.
I learned about periods when I was in 5th grade. That's when we had the video in class about it. We watched it separately. It was really separately. It was we were downstairs and they were upstairs. We weren't allowed to have recess together that day. I think there was a separate video too. It was we had a video for boys' health and for girls' health, and I'm pretty sure the girls' health one we got was different from the one the boys got. It was called Just Around the Corner or something, and I remember at the beginning it would be just around the corner because it was about puberty. But yeah, my parents would never talk about it. When I mentioned videos, they'd be oh, it's okay, just keep it at school, we don't need to talk about it.